Alright then, let's try this again. This is Cyber Dragons. As you can see here, Cydra from St. Truesdale. My second deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution. The PS4 game that is the older PS4 game with one additional campaign, some additional new cards, and no updates to the deck profiles. You'll love to see it. Here is my second favourite archetype in Yu-Gi-Oh! Cyber Dragons, probably second after Blue Eyes, because it's a Blue Eyes-esque retrain. As you can see with the monster, that's an incredibly powerful non-normal summonable beta, which then fusions into a bunch of stuff in the extra, including this lovely little Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon homage. Cyber End Dragon requires 3 of the same monster, fuses into a monster with about 4k attack, and a special ability this time because they figured they needed to upgrade it. Which makes sense because Blue Eyes Ultimate wasn't great, but Cyber End is still not great. The GX support includes Cyber Dragon, that's still in the deck, which is a important monster for TCG relevance. It was a very strong power creep card when it was released, but now it's just kind of an in-archetype enabler. The fusion spell, printed in GX, both Power Bond and Overload Fusion. Power Bond is a fusion from hand or field. For machine monsters, it doubles the attack of the machine fusion it summons, but you take that attacker's damage at the end of the turn that happens. And Overload, probably one of the more infamous fusions. You can banish materials from field or graveyard to fusion summon a monster from your fusion deck, or your extra deck as it is now known, and has been known for about 20 years, god. We have, in the extra, one-off copies of Cyber Twin and Cyber End, the original big boy fusions, which are not really necessary to run or even use, because they've pretty much all been outclassed by this lovely boy. We have Chimeratech Overdragon, who inspired the name of this guy, but is not as good. And we have Chimeratech Fortress Dragon, which also inspired the name of this guy, but is not as good. He's more of a counter to the archetype than he is natural playable in the archetype. That's most of the GX era support, and then we've got the tacked-on Zexal era XC support, with Core being the only real main deck monster remnant of that. Although arguably Galaxy Soldier is important there as well, because it was XC's era. I believe it's in the Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon archetype, but it's significantly better Cyber Dragon support, because it's a free level 5 on the board that you can very easily use to go into the XC's monster printed at the time, Nova, which then turns into Infinity, an incredibly strong monster. The post-Zexal era support that's been printed includes Cyber Emergency, which is a searcher for the archetype in addition to non-normal summonable or settable machines. So it basically covers everything here, apart from the hand trap. Cyber Reaper Plant was printed in the structure deck, so it's more Zexal era, but it's another searcher for light machines. Cyber Rev System, that's post-Zexal. It's basically a monster reborn, but it can also pull stuff out of the hand, and it makes the monster it summons immune to card effects. Destruction. Cyberload Fusion, basically a one-off because it's very searchable, but it's also the worst of the fusion spells in the deck. It's a quick play fusion. It can use materials from Banished Zone or from field, but also only the monster that's fusion summoned by this way can attack that turn after the spell is resolved. Since it's a quick play, you can use it in battle phase, so it is an option. But it's, again, I think the worst fusion spell in the deck. We've got a copy. I think that's about it for the actual Cyber Dragon support that's rounding out the deck. In terms of outside of that, we've got Pharos, which is a fusion spell for the machine monsters. Significantly easier to summon in Cyber Dragons because of that stat line, makes it very easily summonable by Naxter, one of the post-Zexal support pieces. Speaking of which, we didn't cover these. So Core is Zexal era support, searches a cyber spell or trap on summon, normal summon specifically. Cyber Dragon Hurts, when it's specialed, can become level 5, but the more relevant effect is if you foolish it or send it from hand to graveyard, it adds the Cyber Dragon straight to your hand from deck or graveyard, so you can recover any of the pieces, or just grab a new one from deck. Naxter is a free special summon if you have another monster in your hand to discard, but in addition to that, when you normal or special it, you get a free 2100 attack or defense monster from graveyard. Very, very nice. via another free special summon. If you're normal or special summon a Cydra, you can special summon this card from hand. It also buffs up your Cyber Dragon monsters. Not that relevant. They don't need it, particularly the board you tend to end up building. Outside of the Cyber Dragon specific support, cards we include are Foolish Burial, send a monster from deck to graveyard, very strong, wide, limited. Instant Fusion, special summons a level 5 or lower fusion monster from extra deck by paying 1,000 life points, but it's destroyed during the end phase and it can't attack. Funnily enough, none of that matters. It's basically another copy of Galaxy Soldier that doesn't search more Galaxy Soldiers because it gives us Psychoid in this deck, which is another level 5 machine. We're explicitly using it as another material for basically either the Xyz, the Link, or as a fusion material if we specifically just need machine fusions. Machine dupe, because 9 Cyber Dragons rename themselves to Cyber Dragon and has less than 500 attack, so this thing pulls 2 of these big boys out of the deck for practically no cost, adds a pretty nice setup tool. Monster Reborn, because it's Cyber Rev system, but more universal. Mystical Space Typhoon, Twin Twisters is another option, but I like keeping cards in hand, particularly because more of the recent support is particularly greedy about discarding cards. 1-for-1, freely summons Naxter, special summons it 2 from deck if you need that trigger. It also special summons Hertz, just in case you want a level 5. Overload Fusion at 2, definitely recommended. It is Overload Fusion, pretty infamous. Fuses from graveyard and from fields, so you can pretty easily access your fusion lineup, as is Power Bond. And to round it out, we have Raigeki. Destroy all monsters your opponent controls. Very simple text, very limited card. Extra is basically every Cyber Dragon fusion, including some terrible ones. We are including Cyber Eternity, which is basically a going first play, but it's really bad, and you just generally hold back in hand to instead just fuse into Rampage the turn after instead of going into this. But it's an option. We also run all of these cards that we literally never summon, so the extra deck could definitely be filled out more efficiently, but this is my deck. And we're Cyber Dragon homaging it up in here, so every Cyber Dragon fusion is in the extra. All of the Cyber Dragon Xyz and all of the Cyber Dragon Links. Parapsychoid, technically a honorary Cyber Dragon because it's a level 5 machine, and it's also a GX reference because it's our lovely little brother Cyrus was using it. And that's about it for the deck. It's pretty simple, it can almost certainly be improved. I would recommend looking at other builds, but this is a nice little skeleton if you want to know what the core engine pieces are, how they work. I'm not even sure if the ratios are correct, to be honest. I don't see many people running Pharos, but I like it because it's if you can Naxter, it's a free fusion spell. And it's pretty good target for most of the other stuff as well. I just like it. And 2 Ash Blossom Joyous Spring, literally just rounding out the deck with hand traps. But that's my deck. We're going to throw it into some battles. Firstly, I expect to get pasted here because I came here the last time. 5Ds and, well, not 5Ds, Zexal onwards Duelist challenges tend to get pretty hard, mainly because the archetypes are significantly power crept. So we end up with very nasty stuff like Monarchs. But we're going to try it. We'll see how this goes, and depending on how well or poorly it goes, we may end up going up or down in the next match. We're going to pick second, because this deck loves to go second. Versing Silvio Sawatori. This hand is certainly a hand. Opponent opens domain, set and pass. Not exactly a strong open. We're going to go for emergency. We're going to grab ourselves a core. We're going to normal summon that core. We are going to trigger cause effect, and we are going to grab a Cyber Rev system, because all the others are hard once per turn out already. We are going to machine dupe. Grabbing 2 Cyber Dragons. And that ain't a once per turn. We're going to machine dupe again for the last Cyber Dragon in the deck. Very funny. How to do it here? Well, I mean, we have it. We're going to Xyz summon Cydra Nova using these two guys. In attack position. Not that it matters right now because we are literally just going to immediately fuse him away into infinity. Making sure not to clog up the extra monster zone because we need that for Cydra. Speaking of Cydra, let's use our non-Xyz materials to make Cydra. And now, with the many cards still left in hand, let's one card. It's Chimeritic Rampage Dragon. Targeting the Cyber Dragon in the graveyard and the Cyber Dragon core in the graveyard. To banish. We just turned off Repair Plant, but we don't need it, as you can see by the fact that we have the Phalanx. This is my favourite little formation that you make with these guys. And it's basically game over when you get it too. If you don't know what this means as a threat on the board, this guy's not all that threatening, he's more of an extender. But Chimeritic Rampage is a triple attacker when we activate his effect and send 2 monsters from the deck to the graveyard, like we just did. Cyber Dragon Infinity can negate any one card once per turn by detaching a material, and can also absorb attack position monsters once per turn as material. And as far as OTKing, we can now activate Cydra's only real useful effect, which what do you call it? Stops it from dealing damage, but basically gives its attack to another Cyber Dragon. So we're going to make our Chimeritic into a 4200 attacker and beat our opponent to death. Our opponent is going to summon the Prime Monarch in response in the graveyard. We're going to continue to beat over that anyway, and we're going to kill him anyway. Okay, that went really well. That Monarch deck seems really bricky though. He's yet to open a Monarch in the first turn he's played. So we'll try a different player, shall we? We've got the 3 different versions of Aoi's Aizen in various states of uselessness. We've got the 2 different versions of the Gore in various states of uselessness. We've got the 2 different versions of Varys. I like this guy. Well, no, that's a bad deck. That's a bad deck. Rekindled Laval. Why would you play a worse deck than Salamangreat? God knows. Let's just do the protagonist, shall we? Playmaker. Winning the game by picking second. This hand is real bad. Real bad. We're probably still gonna be okay though. I think we're only gonna get a Rampage, and that assumes we draw something here. We didn't draw something. You'll have to see it. Special Summon Cyber Dragon. It's not a great hand. Opponent Torrentials in response. Really not a fan of that Cyber Dragon, I see. Let's set a Cyber Load Fusion. We could normal summon Cyber Pharos. I mean, that search is incredibly conditional. I'm just gonna set it. Odds are good he walks into it. So this hand's a pretty hard brick. And that... yeah, that pretty much solves the problem. Let's normal summon Nexter. Activate his effect, because it can also happen on normal. Summon that Cyber Dragon that they torrentialed. Herald of Orange Light. Okay. Pretty funny. Now I think we specifically have to target Chimeritic Rampage if we do this, because we only have one Cyber Dragon material, so I'm not going to do that. That's probably going to kill, yeah, Nexter. Which really bricks us again, so I'm kind of glad we normaled that. End the turn again. I mean, he's getting us by ditching his entire hand to answer one card most of the time. Sure, why not? MST that back row. Let's see what you're playing with, bud. Herald of Green Light and okay. 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 I mean, you got me. You really got me. But I feel like you played yourself more than you actually got me there, AI. Summoned a normal summon 700 attack monster and then transmodify, send a monster from graveyard, special summon a monster with the same type and attribute that one level higher from your graveyard. No summons from deck. Agent of Creation Venus. Okay. That's a link spam machine. Can pay 500 to summon a mystical shrine ball. Not once per turn, by the way, so he's probably going to do that 3 times. Link Spider. This is the link summon of choice here. Mystical Shine Balls again, paying 500 life points again. Link 1 again. Link Spider. I mean, I have questions. And Link normal summons, well, special summons a mystical sign ball from deck again by paying 500 again, presumably to link off into a Link Spider again. Nope, going for a Link 3. Going for Gaia Saber the Lightning Shadow. You got me, buddy. Take 500. I was not counting on most of what happened this game, but it's pretty funny. I'm gonna special summon this Cyber Dragon. I have options. Oh, that's pretty funny. So I can go to battle, I can beat over that Agent of Creation, and then I can go to main phase 2, and I can fusion summon Chimeritic Mega Fleet using these 2 monsters. Very funny. And it's a 2400, because I think it's 1200 for each of its fusion materials. So we'll go ahead and play that. Got ya. Beat me now, loser. And we now actually, weirdly enough, meet the condition to search out the second power one, presuming this thing gets destroyed. Didn't happen though. Well, that's almost certainly the end of the game, right? Cyber Dragon Core. Activate Core. Grab Cyber Repair Plant. I think both effects are live because it's been that slow of a game. Yep, both effects are currently live, so we're going to do that. That's pretty funny. We can use Repair Plant, we can use both effects. We have to search. Oh no, we get to put back in before we search. We're going to put a Cyber Dragon back in the deck. And we're going to grab a Galaxy Soldier. Why not? And the reason we put one Cydra back in the deck is now Machine Dupe is live for 2 targets. I don't want to chain Ash Blossom. I don't want to kill my own play, because I'm not that stupid. Let's get 2 Cyber Dragons for free. Mystic. Oh, that's a fire. That's annoying. Didn't realize. doesn't matter because we can still make this work, I guess. Right? We can do this. I mean, we have lethal. Not that that's hard, but we have lethal. Power bond. Chimeritic rampage, fusing a core and a Cydra. It'd be nice to have the negate on field with Infinity, but I was making some errors in judgment about Galaxy Soldier and his willingness to discard non-light monsters. Technically the wrong call, again popping my own spell, but what is this if not extended BM? Another option, by the way, to run in the deck is Electromagnetic Turtle, because you can pitch it for this effect and then have a free battle fade. Not that relevant, because, as I say, if the materials that you send to the graveyard as part of your Rampage Dragon activation are important, you are probably not winning that one. Wow. I mean, I have questions. Most of them pertain to how is that a Duelist challenge deck for the Inceptor of Link summoning? We went counter fairies? Are you serious? Okay, well that's the end. We saw some great success, and we beat up on some people that weren't getting their play started, and one guy that was willing to go -4 to stop me from summoning a 200 attack point monster. But we still won. And that's Cyber Dragons. I would certainly recommend them as a build in this game, because they're my favourites. Are they competitive? Probably not. They get splashed into meta decks at the minute, I think, but they're very rarely a coherent tiered deck on their own. I just can't wait for them to print the Cyberstrike structure deck and for me to actually get full copies of Hertz and Cyber Emergency in real life. Potentially also Lightning Storms, but you know, that's probably not going to happen. So yeah, that's Cyber Dragons. That is the Edgelord of GX's deck inspected. And maybe I will go over some other ones later. We've seen now my Blue Eyes deck, one of my 3, the original. Probably the more coherent one, focuses on the Xyz, Synchro and just general beatdown strats. The other option would be the Ritual deck, which is quite a bit of fun in itself. And the off-the-wall personal build that is stupid as hell, Shining Dragon Turbo. Concept is to go into Ultimate to then summon Shining for practically 0 gain, but you don't really need much to win against these AI. So I just like to make a fun deck around a card I like. Maybe we'll even look into some other archetypes like Red Eyes or this Edgebird Sadman from the other Edgelord of Yu-Gi-Oh! That isn't Kite, Tenjo, or Kaiba, or most of the guys in 5Ds, or most of the guys in Vrains at different points. Well yeah, video over.